This is the Barbados Today afternoon news for Wednesday, July 26. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Health Minister John Boyce is pointing to the need for the Health Department to embrace technological changes as the ministry moves to implement a national strategic health plan. Boyce made the call this morning at the second consultation at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. He says this is one of the major challenges to management in the health sector.
Our hands are full with the demand, I want to put it that way, the demand that we get our team to buy in on this entire movement, from paper and books, those blue books which would have been created back in the 1950s, those blue book binders which you pass from shift to shift on our wards at the hospital, at our clinics, in the polyclinics, and maybe even in our doctors' offices, as our records have to be surrendered, and let us get to an online state of affairs, a secure, so I'm with you, a secure online state of affairs, which will sort of make health data, health information that informs our action readily available to us. There's nothing unique about losing a document in an electronic environment, and it's certainly no different to when we lose pages and pages of files related to our individual health care programs.
And still on the topic of health, the revision of items on the basic basket of goods is expected to make healthy eating more affordable for Barbadians. This after Finance Minister Chris Sinclair announced in Parliament yesterday that 100 products are being removed from the list under the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2017. He says this was done in consultation with several sectors.
The Ministry of Health, for example, sat on the committee, was very insistent that some of the stuff that we had in the basket, now on review, things like hamburgers, hot dogs, wieners, those kinds of things that are very, very heavy in salt, that whilst you would allow some of those to be accessible, that you should limit the amounts and types and varieties, and examine and find those ones, if you can find those ones among that group, which would make for better and healthier eating, and that we should concentrate on putting a lot more fruits and vegetables in the basket to ensure that those persons who are in the lower income brackets to be able at least to afford some of those. So we put in things that we did not have in, for example, things like raspberries and blueberries and blackberries, which we are told by the nutritional experts are high in antioxidants and can assist in healthier bloodlines and in terms of lowering cholesterol and of course fighting cancer and those types of things.
In other news this afternoon, 2 men who were sentenced to death for the 2006 murder of Damian Alleyne have had their convictions overturned by the Caribbean Court of Justice. The Trinidad-based CCJ, which is Barbados' highest court, has ruled that Vincent Edwards and Richard Haynes' conviction could not be upheld because of a lack of evidence presented by the Director of Public Prosecutions. The only evidence linking the appellants to the murder was their alleged oral confessions. They were made in separate interviews with officers of the Royal Barbados Police Force while at the Glebe Police Station on July 19, 2007. This was almost 1 year after Alleyne's murder. Queen's Counsel Andrew Pilgrim had argued that there was no case for his clients to answer. And after considering the argument, Justice Winston Anderson ruled that the 2 death row inmates should be allowed to walk free. Telecommunications company Cable and Wireless West Indies is leaving the Barbados Stock Exchange. The decision follows a proposal for the takeover of the remaining shares of Cable and Wireless Barbados Limited. Cable and Wireless Barbados is a subsidiary of Cable and Wireless West Indies, and that in turn is a subsidiary of Cable and Wireless Communications Limited. Cable and Wireless West Indies owns 81.07% of the issued and outstanding common shares of Cable and Wireless Barbados. And in a statement from the company, it says it is seeking to own the remaining shares. Under the proposed amalgamation, shareholders will surrender their stake in Cable and Wireless Barbados in exchange for a cash payment of $2.86 for each common share. The company says this figure represents a premium of 31% over the closing share price of July 24. The board of Cable and Wireless Barbados on Monday resolved to call a special meeting of its shareholders to consider the recommended offer, and it needs a 2/3 approval from the shareholders, and the proposed transaction is expected to be completed by August 24.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Flags? Check. Costume? Check. Mommy, I'm ready.
Ready? Ready for what?
For Junior Kaduman and Fear in association with MQI and the Barbados Lumber Company on Saturday, July 29, 9 a.m. at the National Stadium.
Oh, yes.
I want to go too, but I want to go in the jumping tent and ride the slides at the fair on the infield. Don't forget the big after party with Father Fox, Indian, Scrappy HD, Ramonji, Dancing Africa, Hardware, Hyper Kids, and Stiffy.
Plug into who? Plug into what? Plug into
It's only $30 and you get to bring 2 children under 12 free.
Well, it seems like you two have everything covered. Okay, we'll go.
Thank you, Auntie. Thanks, Mommy.
Where are you going?
To ask Daddy to come so that we can take 2 more of our school friends for free.
Junior Kaduman and Fair in association with MQI and the Barbados Lumber Company. Saturday, July 29th, National Stadium. Imagine screaming for your favorite artists as they compete in the Sweet Soca and Party Monarch final of the MQI 98.1 The Wall Soca Royale. In association with JetBlue, Billy B, Marvey, Lil Rick, Morrisville, Nikita, RPB, Sanctuary, Shaquille, and TC battling reigning Sweet Soca Monarch Edwin. Then it's the Party Monarch finals with Raz, Ali, and Reiner, Faith, Mikey, Mr. Deal, Mr. Blood, Peter Ram, Ramses Brown, and Sophia, all battling reigning Party Monarch Lil Rick. A sleek Mazda 3 for each winner. General tickets are now $60 or pay $70 at the door. Royal Sunday, July 30th at the Bushy Park Racing Circuit. It's the MQI 98.1 The Wall Soca Royale in association with JetBlue. Get your tickets now. Tickets available at the NTX, www.ticketpal.com, and all Popover box offices. Get your tickets now.
In news from the region, the Trinidad and Tobago government has gotten the go-ahead to appoint liquidators for the troubled CL Financial Company. Yesterday, the Court of Appeal overturned last week's High Court ruling, dismissing the application on the grounds that it was premature. But the Justices of Appeal unanimously agreed that the High Court judge, Justice Kevin Ramcharan, erred in law when he dismissed the application. The judges said they were satisfied with the state's arguments that the liquidators should be appointed as the government seeks to recover the company's $15 million debt. And over in Guyana, ExxonMobil announces another major oil find offshore. The corporation says this increases the Payara discovery to the equivalent of an estimated 500 million oil barrels.
So you might remember we drilled our initial well in Payara and we found hydrocarbon. So what we've just finished doing this past week on Thursday is we finished our appraisal well, the second well in Payara 2, which helped us figure out how big the reservoir is. So what we've announced today is we estimate the Payara reservoir to be 500 million oil equivalent barrels. And so for reference, 500 million barrels is about half the size of the Liza field.
The Liza field is said to have more than 1 billion barrels of oil. The Payara field was drilled at 20,000 feet. It is estimated to be about 12 miles east of the Liza field and some 130 miles offshore Guyana's coast. Ms. Brassington said that it is still early days yet for ExxonMobil as the search for black gold continues offshore Guyana.
So as soon as we wrap up on Payara 2, which will happen in the next few days, we're going to move to our next prospect, which is called Turbo, which is a completely different reservoir field that we haven't tested yet.
And finally, at least 10,000 people have been evacuated in southeastern France due to wildfires. Hundreds of firefighters have been deployed to battle the blaze, and France has asked its EU neighbors for more help in fighting the fires. Some 15.4 square miles of land have been burned along the Mediterranean coast, in the mountainous interior, and on the island of Corsica. Overall, more than 4,000 firefighters and troops backed by water bombers have been trying to extinguish the flames since Monday. At least 12 firefighters have been injured, and 15 police officers were affected by smoke inhalation.
We looked up, and into the sky just behind us, we could see huge yellow flames licking up into the sky. And by 2 o'clock, they had put out an alert and asked us to evacuate all of the pitches, and that's when everybody was sent down onto the beach. So there was probably about 3,000 people that were sent down onto the beach, and we've been here ever since. So it's just been a very, very long night. We're still not out with yet. I've been hearing from other people on the beach that other campsites in Bournemouth and those that haven't been as lucky as us, and they have actually suffered quite serious damage.
And that's news this afternoon. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can find us on Zumi Media in bus terminals and also on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We are also on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good afternoon.